Hey everybody, Tracy Brown here. Sorry for the wet hair look. I just got out of the rain. So it is going to be that kind of session. And we are going to, let's see here. Sorry guys. I am working on getting, okay. So we're going to just hang out here for a second and wait for our guest, Caroline, to get here. I added her, so we're waiting for that to happen. And that takes a few seconds to get going. So we're going to talk about doing a supportive meal session with a client today. As soon as I can get her on, we're going to do that. So I've already invited her, but I'm not sure where she's at. Good. Caroline's on her way now, so we'll just wait for her a second. If you're new to the group or you're an old fan, welcome. And I hope you've been getting a lot out of the past videos we've been doing. Basically, my goal right now for the next several weeks is just to share tips. Basically, every day's a little bit of a thing, like just an overview day. We're going to do a tip day. Kind of a wisdom, like here's some things that I've learned, I've screwed up. Hopefully I do better now than I did in the past. Kind of a try it kind of day. And then we're going to have some fun days and some self-care kind of days. And this group is really about support for non-diet practitioners. And you don't even have to be an English word practitioner to be part of this group. It's really about building your skill, your competence, and honestly, just being able to share experiences and what works and what hasn't worked. And I know in my programs, I'm pretty open. Here we go. Caroline's coming. So just waiting a second here. I'm pretty open about my mistakes and stuff too. So hopefully, Caroline Young. Hi. How are you doing?
Good. Can you hear me?
You sound great.
Okay, good. Sorry, I'm a minute late.
Nope, not a problem. I was just yakking until you got here. No problem.
Okay.
Cool. So I wanted to bring you on because I know that you have, you're jumping right into doing some meal support sessions. And before we talk about that, I just want to introduce you a little bit. So Caroline Young is I don't know exactly how you describe yourself. I know that you're an eating disorder, non-diet, health at every size informed dietitian. Do you have any other titles you'd like to go by, or is that good?
Yeah, that's good. Right now I just call myself non-diet registered dietitian.
Cool.
So
okay.
You got it.
Good. You got it. Cool. And you work for a company. You also work for yourself, correct?
Yeah, so I just started my own virtual practice. I literally have one client.
Awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, thanks. And then I just started at a private practice here where I see people in person. And I now have 3 clients there. So it's slowly but surely. It's a practice of therapists, and then I'm the dietitian there.
Excellent. Good.
Yeah.
Can you share with everybody just real briefly how long you've I've known you for a little while, but how people sometimes want to know like trajectory, and I can share mine too real quick, but how long has it taken you? You have 4 clients now. I just want to hear how many months?
Well, so I did my training with Tracy, her attuned eating for professionals training, and sorry if I botched that title, but
that's fine. No, I don't care. But you're
Tracy's
good.
Training starting in December of 2017, and that's when I was I knew I wanted to start my own practice, but I was just wanting some more tools, which is obviously why I did the training, and more education in the non-diet world. And I'd already done a lot of my own self-education and reading, and went through my own recovery process before this. So anyways, long story short, the training ended in, I think, February or March. And I got lucky because I was at an addiction center, and I had a ton of clients. They weren't my own clients though. They were within this addiction center. So I was seeing their clients there. So it was a lot. It was at least half a dozen clients a week, if not more. But now I've transitioned out of there into private practice and started my own practice. So it has taken probably since I started my own practice and started at this new practice, probably about two months to get for just now as of today my fourth client. So
Okay.
it's I consider that kind of slow because I'm not the most patient person. But yeah, it's slow, but it's I like this pace because it helps me really focus. And I was getting burnt out at the addiction place, so
Yeah.
I think it's good for me to have this smaller batch right now.
It's funny you consider it slow. I was consider like, I think that's really good.
Well,
2 months and you're kind of like, kind of, it's up to your own efforts. I think that's really good. It's really good. So I just
thanks.
want to share that, like, we all have a weird perspective of, like, not weird, but like, it takes some time to get going, but 2 months for that, I just want to share, like, I think that's very good clip. So
Thanks.
that's why I asked that question, because I didn't know how you perceive that. And I think it's important to, like, it clearly is exactly right for you as well. So
Yeah, thank
okay,
you.
cool. Well, tell me about this little session. This is not gonna we're not gonna like super long into this, but I want to talk to you. Had a question in a different group that we have, and I want to hear a little bit, just a quick little summary, like we talked about in the training, of like a little bit of like this person's background and what you're trying to accomplish with this meal support session, and then maybe we'll go through like one question or some kind of thing that you want to go into that session to try to accomplish.
Okay. Yeah. So just about the client, he's 25 years old, male, obviously. I actually, he came with me from the addiction center. He followed me because we just established a really good rapport, and he was doing really good work, and he's super motivated in his recovery. He's also recovering from alcoholism. His eating disorder is bulimia. He is newly recovered, though. He was actually in inpatient treatment before he came and saw me starting in March of this year. So he's new in recovery, and he has gained weight with me and then lost it. And I'm still trying to kind of figure that out, what's going on there, without being too, direct with him about it. And too, I don't want to make him feel like he already beats himself up enough. So I don't want to make him feel like he's, put him in a corner. So I'm trying to figure out how to go about that. But so this session tomorrow is, he has a really hard time with pizza. That's like one of his main foods that he really struggles with knowing how. So he eats it, but he always stops when he thinks that he's had the right amount, like based on external factors. So it's never, he is still in this place where it's really hard for him to even begin to rely or think about relying on his internal cues. And so he always is kind of like looking at everyone else's food and kind of being like, well, this should be what fills me up. But he says this before he even eats. So, and then he stops himself, even though he doesn't really let himself get full. He very rarely lets himself get full. And he even writes it down on his food journals. And he doesn't let himself get beyond a 5 or a 6 often. It's rare. So he has a really hard time tolerating fullness. And with the pizza, I think he's terrified of overeating. He's terrified of overeating in general, but he's terrified of overeating pizza especially. And so I think we've had one meal and one snack together in session, but we've never gone out to I've never gone out to a restaurant with anyone before. And so I'm excited about it, but I'm just a little, I wouldn't say nervous. I'm just a little unsure of how to structure it. And I know I need to let it be intuitive, but at the same time, I also don't want to cause more anxiety as we're at the table together. And so, and I've read an article yesterday that was really helpful, and I don't know if you would agree with this or not, but it said when you are actually eating with the client, because I'm thinking like first half of the session will be eating and the second half will be just like having a regular session like we typically would, but we'll be at the restaurant. just keep it light, keep the conversation light, and just don't really talk about the food, or don't address disordered thoughts while he's eating, or don't even go there at all, and just talk about things unrelated to it, and just kind of enjoy the meal together. And then afterwards, maybe kind of like debrief with him a little bit about it. But yeah, I don't really know. I think it's just because I've never done it before. And
Never done it.
Yeah.
You know, okay, so I'll just share a little bit with you. Before you tell me what his goal is and what your goal is, maybe, I just want to share with everyone, there's so many different ways to do meal sessions. And I think it depends on your client. And I think it depends on, again, goals. Because sometimes a meal session can be just about, we're trying to get the food in and do just a little bit more than usual and then have a support to do it. Sometimes if you're doing it from a more somatic perspective, you can do it way differently, and it just really depends. So, and if you're in public, it's a little harder to debrief even in public fully than what you would do in an office. So
yeah,
if you're in that set, when I've been with restaurant settings with clients, I've done two different ways, whether we're eating food, we're being humans, and we're just talking, and then I'll do a little bit of a check-in of, you know, how's this going for you? And they'll tell you, and like, okay, I got it. You know, what do we need to do to like kind of shift that if it's feeling like too much, the conversation, the whatever. And or you know, you can stay at the restaurant the whole time, or you can eat your meal and then take a walk and talk. And sometimes that's actually that might feel a little less, because when you think about our clients, sometimes we have to take out a stressor, or we need to add more something. So it may be in that situation, if everything is feeling like, okay, I'm at my limit with how much I can deal here, then that would be a good time to like, okay, let's pay for our food and let's go take a walk, you know, around down the street, around the area, depending on where you're eating.
Yeah.
And then
we're gonna
talk about how that goes.
Yeah, we'll be in a good place to walk. There's like it's a court square, so it'll be. I like that idea.
Yeah, because sometimes like you do need to kind of debrief, but it's hard to do it, and it's hard to do it fully in public.
Yeah. Do you? So I guess like back to his goals. What we're working on is helping him understand that it's his internal cues that really need to be guiding the amount that he eats.
Well,
so
yeah,
helping.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. No, you go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, and just like helping him alleviate the fear of overeating, because he is just so terrified of overeating and tolerating fullness.
All right. So what would happen if you go to the restaurant and just say, I'm here. And as we're eating, I want you to keep trying to tune in and register to me being here with you. And is his goal to eat a little bit more pizza without being like freaking out, or like what is his goal?
I don't really, for this specific session, we haven't set a goal, which maybe before we sit down, maybe I should email him tonight or something.
I think either whatever feels more comfortable and what your rapport is. So I would email him before, like, hey, I want to, just before we do this, let's check in about what your goal is for this session. So it may be that like, I want to be able to eat a little bit more than usual and have support to do that. And then maybe you guys can tune in, like, what does that even feel like? Even if you know it's not enough, but if it's more and he can have toleration for that without compensating, that's a huge win.
Yeah. So it would be, so if let's say that was his goal, so would it be like something like along the lines of me helping him check in with hunger fullness scale? Because, you know, we are all on the hunger fullness scale thing with him.
Okay. So if he was my client, what I would do is, you got the goal set up, like your goal is to, like, say, maybe our goal is to go to like between a 6 and a 7. Maybe he's cool with that, whatever amount that pizza that ends up being. And what I would do is I would go back and forth between like, yeah, okay, how's it tasting? How you doing? What's that feel like? Okay, cool. And you said that you like to, that you're looking forward to the football season. Tell me more about that. Like, who's your people? Who's your team?
Yeah.
I would be back and forth.
Yeah.
Checking in with him, making sure, if you can notice in his affect, if he's trying to checking out, or if he's in his head, say, I notice you're kind of quiet, or how you doing over there? Just kind of try to keep it surfacey, but also keep him not from checking out.
Right. So, I
Or
mean,
like on the hamster wheel, like running away.
so how do you know if he's on the hamster wheel?
Well, it depends. I mean, can you tell that in him? Like when you're with him in sessions, like can you tell if he's in his mind spinning or he's like, everybody's different. I don't know if you can tell. If you can't tell, that's okay. But if he seems like worried,
Yeah, I think I know him enough to know
okay.
that. Yeah, but he
And I
doesn't
would,
have to get. Yeah.
yeah, if you can't tell, I would just check in, like you're eating, talking. Yeah, how's it going? How's it going with what you're feeling? And just real gently, not like intensely probing, not
Right.
trying to get a whole lot of information, just a little tap, like, hey, how's it going? Okay, cool. And you know, um, you can ask him how it tastes. What does he like this topping? And then move
Yeah.
on to something else. Just kind of keep going back and forth.
Okay. And then what do you recommend for like after you're done eating for the rest of the session?
Depends. I mean, that might take you the whole session, and so you can maybe do some journaling about how this went after, or let's say that if that you also might talk about if it's pizza place. To be honest, if your session's only set up for an hour, the
Yeah,
time you order your food and get
that's
it
true.
and eat, like
Yeah.
I just did a pizza session with a client. We were there right at an hour, um, and just talking about like what's happening next, what's going on for her, and then the second half hour we ate and did the food stuff. So it was fine. Um, but I would also kind of create expectancy with the email that you're going to send to him. Like, what do you want to accomplish? No, that's a pizza place. I'm not sure how much time we'll have after. So I also want you to be thinking about um, how you want to take care of yourself after.
Okay, that's a good point. Yeah. Okay. So,
Or if you want to schedule it longer, give maybe the option. You could say, I don't have to be anywhere afterwards. If we need to make more time, we can do that as well.
okay. Um, so basically just kind of like shifting from kind of surface conversation to checking in with him every so often about how he's doing and okay.
Yeah, because it's like you don't want to ignore his experience and what
Yeah.
he's going through because he's got you here for support.
Right, of course.
But
Yeah.
it didn't want to be the whole point of the thing either because he's not at the place where he can actually hold space for both eat my food and enjoy it and then pay attention to like connection with you.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
going to be pretty much like either having to ignore his anxiety about how much he's eating
Yeah.
or, so you want to like acknowledge that but not be too much on top of it.
Yeah. Um I just had a thought really quick and I don't remember. Must have not been that important.
You
um
can put in the comments later.
Oh, it was about. I know he looks at what other people eat a lot and compares, so I know he's going to be. I'm aware, and I'm really anyone with an eating disorder, recovering from an eating disorder, is going to be hyper aware of what the person they're eating with is, how much they're
Mm-hmm.
eating. So, do you recommend that I mirror how much, like, because I'm
Okay.
already I'm
Yeah.
going into this meal knowing that he's going to be paying hyper attention to how much pizza I'm eating, and I'm okay eating however much pizza he eats, just so I can
Mm-hmm. I would do
show.
that then.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that what you typically?
I
Okay.
typically plan. I mean, I like to eat out, so I always like to get good and hungry for eating out anyway. To be honest, so
Yeah.
it's just a good reason. But I always, I don't overstuff myself. But I typically get to the place where I'm good and hungry, and I get good and full. And I can't always guarantee that'll be. It's almost always as much, but it's more often more than they can eat.
It's probably
I kind
what.
of I usually try to eat as I usually honestly eat as much as they do, if not more.
Okay. Yeah. So I think for me to help him, I think my goal for as far as eating goes for me, I need to at least match him where he is, if not
Oh yeah.
surpass. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's that's what feels comfortable to me. Um, every once in a while, there's an occasion where somebody might eat more, but it's not all the time. It's not that, and we just talk about it if that happens. If they're catching themselves, let's just talk about it. Then that's fine. We'll work through it.
So you talk about what you're eating too.
At the beginning, if that's a thing for them, if that's a main thing, I would say like, I just let you know that I'm good and hungry. We'll see how this goes for me too. I mean, I'm just going to try to do my own thing with hunger and fullness. And if you notice something that comes up for you about that, then let me know.
Okay. And then do you talk about the hunger fullness scale before? Like, do you talk about your hunger before you
You
eat?
can, yeah, I do. I think it's kind of fun. Like I mean, mine's not all that relevant to theirs, but I ask them how they're doing. And
Okay.
sometimes if it's like, man, I'm getting hungry, I don't know about you. How are you doing?
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. Well, that gives me a much better idea.
Cool.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of ways. I mean, some sessions you can structure it totally different depending on the goal. Um, the kind of the window of tolerance and stability for your client. This person sounds like they're ready to go do this. They can eat. It's just that they need help pushing to the next level. I mean, there are going to be some
Yeah.
clients that we do this with, like, you
They
know,
can't
eating in
eat.
front of anybody. Yeah, eating in front of anybody is like a huge
Yeah.
deal. So it's going a little much slower. Right. It's going to be a different kind of session, and
Right.
it's not going to be in public. So
Right.
different discussion.
Yeah. I mean, so according on what he tells me, he already eats pizza. It's just he stops before he's full and he can't. So that'll be what
I think that's the thing of him making I think really importantly for him setting a goal, like how full do you want to try to get with this, and that's what I'm going to support you with.
Okay.
So
okay.
Well, thank you for
Thank you,
sharing.
Tracy.
This is really good, and
Yeah.
please put below like any updates you want to share, any of the questions you think about that you forgot to ask right now, and then we'll check in back with you another time.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for sharing.
I'm loving all of your stuff, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.